Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lonna, Lucille, Whaley, Ogburn, Terry, and I live in Mesa, Arizona on Boise Street with my dog, my furry friend, Oreo. I was born in Tacoma, Washington in 1944, and that was right at the end of World War II. My dad was in the Navy. My mom, she was raised in South Dakota, and her dad came to Bremerton, Washington to work in the shipyards, and she came with him. Somehow that's how she met my dad. I think it was at a bar. When my mother was quite pregnant with me, the war was going on, and my daddy was on the USS Lexington, and it was bombed and it sank. It sank out in the middle of the Coral Sea. He carried a picture of me as a baby in his pocket. When the ship was sinking and he was getting off, somehow the fire or heat got to his back pocket where the picture was, and it burned it. It burned the picture, but I still got it. When I was 8 months old, my dad was discharged from the Navy, and he came to the house and he saw me for the first time in a doorway in a jumpy chair. He thought I was so cute. My daddy came home and he saw my diapers frozen on the clothesline, and a lot of my clothes were inside the house on clotheslines that Mom had put up to get them to dry. And he said, "This is ridiculous. I'm going to take you to California where it's warm." And he did. I lived in California for 70 years, I think, until I came to Arizona. I had a good life growing up. As a little tiny girl, about 5 years old, I used to play in a bucket. Put water in a bucket and I'd play in that. I got a picture of me somewhere in little blonde braids. It's really cute. And I had been playing in the bucket. My mom had a bird that she loved. It was a I forgot what kind it was, but it sang all the time. It was so pretty. She loved that bird. And one day she was changing the paper in the bottom of the cage, and the bird flew away. And she never did catch it, never did find it again. So I got the cage and took the bottom of the cage laid it out, and I had a little girlfriend who lived down the street from us, and her and I got hammers, and we were hammering on the floor of the bird cage, and I stuck my head in the way and I got hammered on top of the head really hard. It hurt. That's just one little memory I have. When I was about 9 years old, we bought a house in the California high desert. And it was very small house, but it had a porch, a front porch, and we would sit on the front porch and put our feet up on the little brick wall. And at nighttime, we would watch very strange lights doing things that airplanes can't seem to do. We had two big mountains of rocks in front of us, and this light, every night, it would come and swing from one mountain to the other, and back and forth, and back and forth, and then after a while, it would just zoom off into the sky. I don't know where to. And we did that for several years. Barbara?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. I'm coming by to steal Doggy Dog.
Oh, okay. My grandson is taping me right now.
He's taping you?
Yeah, he's asking me questions and taping it.
Oh, I'll just come to the back door and take Doggy Dog.
Okay, you can come.
And I'm gonna do some oranges and grapefruit for you at the front porch.
Oh, good. All right, thank you.
But I'll just come and get Doggy Dog and you won't even see me.
Okay.
Right here.
Bye. What about that? Do you want to erase it?
No, I'll keep it.
Why?
Because I like it. It's cute.
A stupid phone call in the middle of this. I'm getting thirsty. Actually, this tastes terrible. Don't know why. The house that Daddy built was in Vista, California, and it was on an acre that he named Gay Lonna Acres. That's after me and my sister, Ellen Gay. After we lived there for a while, Dad got transferred out to 29 Palms Marine Corps Base, where he made captain of the fire department. We moved into a tiny little house that they bought in Joshua Tree. While we lived there, my sister and I started school at Joshua Tree National Monument. Later, Daddy built a house in Yucca Valley. That's when I started high school. We had to drive 22 miles on the bus one way to get to school. and that was pretty darn tiring. I couldn't do a lot of stuff living that far away from school, but as soon as I was driving, I could drive to the games. I met Stuart Ogburn when I was in high school. I think I was a sophomore. His grandma and step-grandfather owned a lumber yard in Yucca Valley, and that's where my dad got all his supplies to build the house. And that's how we met. We knew each other for about 3 years before we decided to get married. I was still in high school, and we eloped. We went to Las Vegas to get married. About a year and a half later, I graduated from high school. We were living in Hemet when Jeffrey was born. And then we moved out to the fire station and the residence after he was born. And I spent a lot of time on my front porch talking to the firemen. Jeffrey knew them all, and he would run and play. And then we bought a house in Indio, which was a very lovely home. It was a 3-bedroom house. We lived there for quite a while. And that's where Cherie and Justin were born. I talked Stuart into going on vacation up Northern California because I got tired of the desert. I was raised in the desert and I was tired of it. So we moved up north, and that's where we had a house built. I remember Justin was about 10 months old when we moved there. And as he would walk under the table, he would bump his head. We always laughed at him, thought it was funny. Stuart and I moved to Northern California, and that's where Renee was born. She was actually born in Santa Cruz. And then 4 years later, Rochelle was born. And she was born in Sonora. We moved a lot. We moved up and down California while Stuart got promoted. We ended up in Siberia. So I can't remember where we were. We ended up in Fresno. We moved from Fresno to the Santa Cruz Mountains. Stuart and I got a divorce in 1999, I think. We both remarried about 2 years later to someone else. I married Walter, who was about 17 years older than I am, and we had a really nice life. We traveled all over the world. I've been to France and saw the Eiffel Tower, in Rome and saw the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and in Rome we saw the Vatican. We went to Africa And we went on about 5 safaris. 2 of them were on boats going up the river, and it was fantastic and it was beautiful, and I loved it. Every year we had a big trip planned, so we ended up traveling all over. Then he had a massive stroke, and I took care of him for 3 years until he died. Then I moved to Arizona to be near Renee and Justin and the grandkids. And so far I've pretty much enjoyed it here. Well, I lived through the very end of World War II, but we also lived through the airplanes going through the Twin Towers. And now we're living with Russia, with Putin as their president. He's bombing the Ukraine, and we're hoping that it doesn't start a World War III. After Walter died, I took in a Ukrainian woman and her 2 kids. They lived with me for a year until I moved to Arizona. And so right now I'm very concerned about her parents, who I met over Skype. I met them over Skype. Now I'm worried about them. They're still in Crimea. I can't even say it. It's just been some terrible, terrible fighting going on, and I wished I could do something to bring all the people home. The joy of my life has been being a grandma. And if I was in the Ukraine, I would be called Babushka, because that's grandma. Anyway, I love you guys. Bye. I think that's the end.